As mainstream movies have grown bigger and more expensive, Kelly Reichardt's films take a throwback to simpler times. And in fact, a few of her films are period pieces, but each story is relevant to our modern day lives. She's garnered worldwide awards for her quiet, methodical filmmaking. My name is Harrison Swales. Let's stop, take a break, smell the roses, and go in a different direction of Kelly Reichardt. Kelly Reichardt was born in Miami-Dade County, Florida in 1964. While Miami may be the third most populated metropolis on the East Coast, there is far more to this location. It is the home to the Everglades National Park. Though Reichardt has not openly discussed her childhood, her lush green imagery and bright outlook of the region shows she has spent time exploring her surroundings of her home. Her debut film, River of Grass, shot in her hometown, is a bare-bones dramatic crime story about a woman's liberation. It was a critical hit and it was nominated for the Sundance Grand Jury Prize after its premiering screening. However, this first feature was not her first credit on a film. 3 years earlier, in 1991, she worked on Todd Haynes' Poison. As a costume and prop designer, Haynes is a vital part of Reichardt's career. He was the person that encouraged her to move to Oregon. The Beaver State will provide the backdrop and inspiration for almost all of her films to come. This transition to the West Coast starts off with a very special film called Old Joy. The story focuses on a pair of estranged friends, and Daniel London plays Mark, just married with one child on the way. Will Oldman plays Kurt, a drifter and a stoner who is yet to grow out of his 20s. Kurt reaches out to Mark in hopes of taking a weekend hiking trip. The film charts their escape into the Cascade Mountains. They don't get lost, no bear attacks them. It's a total character piece. The film is a study of friendship. How does Mark react to Kurt showing up out of nowhere? How awkward can that reunion feel? We have a clip here from Old Joy to show the first car ride together.
How's your dad?
It's all right, you know, all things considered.
Last I heard, he was living in a new place.
Yeah, right. Yeah. For some reason, he decided at age 70 that he didn't want to be married anymore, so he moved out.
Yeah, that's what I heard.
Then he ended up with these blood clots on his brain. And they just showed up out of nowhere. He was really weak for a while, nobody knew what to do. Then they dissolved, just went away.
That's heavy.
Really put my mom through the ringer.
Yeah, I bet. I bet. It's kind of like when an old Eskimo goes off to die alone. Who knows? You still have this. Didn't this used to be Noah's?
Yeah. Found it behind Kruger's.
As we started to see at the tail end of that scene, the buildings are replaced by the forest background. Through those background details, the scenery is changing. In a traditional film, we would see a wide shot of the forest to really make sure we knew where we are. But here, Reichardt wants us to focus on their relationship. It feels awkward. They aren't even talking about each other. The focus is on the conversation as a character that we never even see. I think we all have had those moments in life where nobody knows what to really say. Like when you are first thrown into a breakout room during a Zoom class. Talk about the weather, sports, or anything else. The blocking for this clip is also important. If you could pull up the clip again, it shows the internal unspoken friendship in a physical way. The discussion is one-sided, so Reichardt has the camera peeking in through the window. Kurt is closer to the camera. As a result, he looms over Mark, who's essentially in the background of the shot. Kurt asks Mark about his father in an attempt to open up about his family. After all, Mark is about to have a kid of his own. Paternal anxiety is a strong theme throughout this film. This backpack trip might as well be their bachelor party, the last chance of freedom before he gives up these kinds of weekends to focus on his new family. Let's jump ahead to the tail end of the clip and look at the edit. An important concept of editing is motivation. When you cut to the next shot, it should be motivated by something, an emotion, an action, or a line of dialogue. Mark taking out the bottle could lead to an insert shot, a close-up of the bottle to get a better look. However, this cut here reveals something else, a smile. Kurt has gotten Mark to open up a touch. Of course, they grow closer together as the story progresses, but that journey is better experienced than talked about. Upon release, it went on to win awards at the Rotterdam International Film Festival and the Sarasota Film Festival. It is basically the genesis of Kelly Reichardt's career and brought her into contact with author Jonathan Raymond. His short story of the same name inspired Old Joy. These two would go on to co-write almost all of Reichardt's features, except for Certain Women and Rivergrass. Reichardt and Raymond's collaboration comes to an incredible peak with 2020's First Cow. Working with current indie studio superstar A24, Reichardt would make her longest film to date, that would also have the biggest box office opening of her career. First Cow takes place in the same region as Old Joy, just 200 years in the past. As the pioneer-era West, we come across Cookie, played by the Umbrella Academy's John Magaro. He's a soft-spoken gatherer who has a rare talent for baking pastries, which given the time period is so precious. After forming a bond with King Lou, played by Orion Lee, the two decide to go into business with one another. They need milk for their oily cakes, so they turn to their titular animal. The cow was owned by a wealthy English man known as Chief Factor, played by Toby Jones. Thankfully for Cookie and King Lou, there's no thing as security at night, and the business starts to flourish.
It's the getting started that's the puzzle. No way for a poor man to start.
You have a cow.
First cow in the territory.
This ain't a place for cows.
Well, it's no place for white men either.
I sense opportunity here.
We essentially see the birth of capitalism in North America. Their supply and demand and scarcity being applied to their business as they are only people around that can bake sweets like these. Before Cookie decides to start baking, he admits to King Lou, "I'm tired of this water and flour bread," to which Lou replies, "A matter-of-fact way, so's everyone." At one iconic moment, Chief Factor tastes the oily cake and made of his own stolen milk and lovingly states, "I taste London in this cake." Making a film in the Wild West while devoting so much energy to ideas of economic subverts what an audience expects in a Western. For the most part, the Western genre consists of a vigilante or a man with no name that comes into a town to save the helpless villagers. Here, Reichardt is ignoring the hyper-masculine canon with a film about economics and friendship. Every time a fight breaks out, it happens in the background. One such scene is blocked in a way that Cookie walks past the fight because he is too exhausted to be bothered with it. The friendship between Cookie and King Lou is in a way an echo of Mark and Kurt in Old Joy, the introvert and the extrovert. These two films, Old Joy and The First Cow, provide a perfect double feature if you want to start watching the films of Kelly Reichardt. They are beautiful meditative works that focus on the power of nature and nurture. Her filmmaking provides a great different direction for the filmgoer who wants peace in the films they watch.